It was the first week of September when I got the call from my sister, Rebecca. She sounded exhausted, the kind of tired that wasn't just from lack of sleep but from carrying too much on her shoulders. Her son, my nephew, Ethan, had injured his shoulder during football practice. He was 17, in his last year of high school, and aiming for a scholarship. The injury was threatening his whole season, maybe even his chances at college sports. She told me she couldn't keep taking off work to drive him to physical therapy, and asked if I could help. I didn't even think twice before saying yes. Ethan had always been like a son to me. My own kids were grown and had moved away, and I missed the bustle of having someone in the house. So, when he came over the next morning with his backpack slung over one shoulder and a hesitant smile on his face, I welcomed him in like it was the most natural thing in the world. The physical therapy clinic was about a 20-minute drive from my place. Ethan sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, his jaw clenched. I tried to lighten the mood by asking about school and his friends, but his answers were short. Finally, he sighed and said, "I just hate feeling useless, Aunt Claire. I can't even throw without pain. Coach is already talking about replacing me." I glanced over and saw the frustration in his eyes. "It's just a setback," I told him. "You'll heal. You just have to stick with the therapy." He nodded, but I could tell he wasn't convinced. The clinic smelled faintly of eucalyptus and antiseptic. Soft music played from a speaker in the corner, and a row of massage tables lined the back wall. The therapist assigned to Ethan was a middle-aged man named Mark, with calm eyes and a gentle way of explaining things. I stayed in the room during the first session, mostly because I wanted to hear what kind of care Ethan would need at home. Mark explained that the massage therapy would focus on loosening the tension around Ethan's shoulder and upper back. He described each step before doing it, checking if Ethan was comfortable. Ethan lay face down on the table, his face in the padded cradle, while Mark worked methodically. The only sounds were the low music and the occasional creak of the massage table. About halfway through, Mark paused and asked Ethan to relax his arm more. But I could see Ethan's whole body tensing. "It's really tight," Mark murmured. "Feels like the muscle is in protective mode." Ethan muttered something about it feeling weird. Mark reassured him that it was normal after an injury. For the next few weeks, I became the unofficial chauffeur, taking Ethan to every appointment. I started noticing little changes. His posture was better, the way he carried his backpack wasn't as awkward, and the tight grimace he had during the first few sessions started to fade. But one day, during the fourth week, something unexpected happened. It was a rainy Thursday. The sky was a dull gray, and the sound of the rain on my car roof made the drive feel slower than usual. Ethan had been quiet all morning. When we got to the clinic, he admitted his shoulder felt stiff again. Mark greeted him warmly and suggested they do some deeper work on the shoulder muscles. I was in the waiting area when Mark came out and waved me over. "Claire, could you come in? I think Ethan might feel more at ease if you're here." When I walked in, Ethan was sitting up on the table, looking uncomfortable. Mark explained that sometimes during massage therapy, muscles can cramp or lock if the body is under stress, which can feel like they're stuck. He said it wasn't dangerous, but it could be painful if not worked out slowly. Ethan looked embarrassed, as if this was some kind of failure on his part. I sat down beside him and told him it was nothing to be ashamed of. Mark demonstrated a few breathing exercises to help the muscle release, and I stayed by Ethan's side as the tension in his shoulder eased. That moment stuck with me, because it wasn't just about his shoulder. It was about him learning to trust that people wouldn't walk away when things got tough. I realized then that he'd been carrying more than just a sports injury, he'd been carrying fear. Fear of losing his place on the team, fear of not living up to expectations, maybe even fear of being forgotten. The next week, something shifted. He started talking more on the drives, telling me about his friends, about a girl named Sarah he liked, about how he was scared of life after high school. I just listened. Sometimes, that's all someone needs, someone to really hear them. By the 6th week, his range of motion had improved dramatically. Mark told us that with continued home exercises, Ethan should be ready to rejoin light practice soon. Ethan's face lit up like it hadn't in months. On the way home, he turned to me and said, "You know, Aunt Claire, I thought I was done for. But you never made me feel like I was." That night, I thought about how life has a way of throwing unexpected detours. What started as a favor for my sister turned into something that reminded me of the power of showing up. It wasn't just a massage that changed Ethan's shoulder, it was the steady presence, the patience, and the belief that he could get through it. When football season resumed, I was in the stands for his first game back. He didn't play the whole time, but when he did, the crowd cheered as if he'd just scored the winning touchdown. I caught him scanning the stands until he found me. He grinned, lifted his good arm, and gave me a small wave. That wave was enough. Because I knew it meant more than "thanks for driving me." It meant "thanks for believing in me." And that's the thing about moments like these, they might seem small, but they stick with you. Just like that rainy Thursday, when my nephew's shoulder got stuck during a massage, and what could have been just another awkward setback turned into the day he learned that some people will stay beside you until the tension eases.